Yes, her.
Don't you love that song? Oh
I
my
just love her. She's phenomenal.
She's
so good.
This music, I just love her, and I just wanted to start off today, fam, and give you some love. We got Rahama Wright. You don't even know. This is gonna be so amazing. So, she won so many awards too at the recent BET Awards, right?
Yeah, and also I think she won a lot at the Grammys, if I remember correctly.
She is so amazing. Okay, I'm gonna go to my website. Yes, we are live, Rahama. We are live. You could do damage. Okay, I can't sing, you guys. I
promise. Let her do it. Let her do it. We all got our lane. We all got our talents from God.
Exactly.
I know I can't sing. I act like I can, but I cannot.
I can't either. Okay, hold on. Alexa, music off. Okay, there we go. Hello, fam. How are you doing? Happy Thursday. Happy July 1st.
Yay, new month.
Oh my God, I can't imagine, like the whole year to me has just, Rahama, just flown by. We are in July, and I know July is not going to be any exception to that rule. It's going to continue to move forward, but I'm just so grateful and thankful for this opportunity today to talk to you. I'm just sitting here on pins and needles because I have to tell you guys, it was up until the last minute. We didn't know if Rahama was going to be able to make it because where are you physically located, Rahama?
I'm in DC.
Okay. And it's Rahama, correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I don't do things right. So you're in DC and it's storming and tornadoes.
Yep. So it literally at like 3:30 in the afternoon, it was thundering, lightning, tornado warning, and then it kind of like rained off and on and then stopped like around 5 o'clock.
I was sitting here on pins and needles like, is she gonna make it? I don't know.
Ta-da, here I am.
Like at the minute she made it. So I'm so excited. I'm going to be introducing her to you here shortly. I just want to say to you, wherever you are, we send you blessings of positivity. We just hope that wherever you are, that life is being kind to you. And I just want to say to those that are finding it just challenging, just know that no storm lasts forever. There is light at the end of the tunnel. Continue to believe, continue to have faith. Don't lose sight on the possibilities that you can have in your life. And the best time to create them is when you can't see them. And know you absolutely can. I'm going to introduce this amazing, phenomenal guest that we have on the Fit Life platform. But I want to say to you, those of you who are new, welcome, 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 welcome. Tag a friend, call somebody. Let's not let this be a one-way dialogue. Let's create, a monologue. Let's create a dialogue. Let's have a conversation so that we get richness and you can walk away with the tools and resources that you need that will help you in your business or on your corporate journey. I am so honored to be here every week to be able to share these amazing guests with you. For most of you who know me, you know that I created this platform because I wanted to showcase the women, Black women and women of color that are in the world doing things, because I think that we don't get an opportunity to really explore all the great things that are happening around the globe. And Rahama is coming to us from DC. When you hear her story, you will be inspired. You will be motivated. If you're not, then I need you to call me because we need to have a real serious conversation because she's doing some great things. And like her and like my platform, we're here to highlight both the journey and the success stories of professionals and entrepreneurs of color. We want to explore all the important and necessary information to help guide, inspire, and encourage all aspiring business owners and professionals of color. We plan to equip you with specific, concrete examples, tools, tips, and tricks to lead you towards your own success, not only in business, but in life. So this beckons the question as we start every week, Are you ready? Are you ready to throw down? Yes, we are. No, are you ready to get fit? Fit is a mental construct. Fit, it stands for faith, intuition, and tenacity. Faith, the ability to believe in something you can't see. Intuition, learning how to trust yourself. And tenacity, the will to go get it done. I'm bringing these guests again to you weekly to inspire you, to empower you, to give you that insight that you need. I want to make sure those that are listening, I can see the eyes out there. Can you just say we can hear you so that I know that you hear us and we're not just, talking a bliss? I want to make sure you hear. I want to ask you to please do invite a friend. If you haven't already grabbed your favorite beverage, a pen, and a piece of paper, please do that because you're going to want to take notes. The woman that I'm about to introduce to you is Rahama Wright, and she is a social entrepreneur who works at the intersection of beauty, policy, and international development. After serving in the Peace Corps, she launched Shea Yaleen, a social impact company that creates living wage jobs for women in Ghana through the creation of shea butter-based body care products. Her entrepreneurial journey spans bootstrapping to landing distribution with Whole Foods markets, MGM resorts, and most recently Macy's. And by the way, I just purchased something last night on your Macy's.
Yay, thank you.
Brand has been featured in a variety of media outlets, including the O for the Oprah magazine, Washington Post, the Huffington Post, Washington Business Journal, MSNBC, CNBC Africa. Rahama is also the founder of the Pop-Up Collaborative, a collective of women and minority-owned businesses in the DC metro area that are a part of the Made in DC program. The Pop-Up Collaborative is a curated retail experience that markets and sells products on behalf of makers ranging from art, jewelry, apparel, housewares, specialty foods. The goal of the collective is to provide an inclusive business opportunity that address gender and racial inequality, a leading voice in African American women's economics, and a business development. She has completed 150 plus speeches and panels globally, including at the United Nations, World Bank, and Global Entrepreneurship Summit. During the Obama administration, she was appointed to the Presidential Advisory Council on doing business in Africa and is currently serving on her third term on the council. An avid traveler, she has visited and worked in 36 countries. Wherever you are, please welcome to this platform, Rahama Wright. Rahama, welcome.
Thanks so much for having me, Cheryl.
No, thank you for the amazing opportunity to interview you. I just have so many questions. I know my audience is going to be blessed because, Rahama, you are doing the things that most of us dream of. You are out there really, truly making it happen. But I want to start with the first question that I ask all my guests. Rahama, what are you passionate about?
Oh my gosh. So first of all, I'm so excited to be here. The first time you and I talked, we just connected on so many different levels. And so thank you for having me. Okay, your question, what am I passionate about? I'm really passionate about women's economic development. I think that if I do anything with my life, it is to support other women's ability to take care of themselves, their families, their children. And I think it ties directly to the fact that I am a first generation American. Half my family is from Ghana, West Africa. And I know that the opportunities that I've had in my life being an American is much different from even people in my own family. And being able to utilize the resources and utilize the blessings that I have to give other people an opportunity is something that I've always wanted to do. I remember from the age of 10, I wanted to do something that was of impact. And, I first thought I would be a lawyer. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to join the Foreign Service. And then, of course, my dad did the Peace Corps. So that led me to doing the Peace Corps. And being a Peace Corps volunteer really changed kind of the career trajectory for myself. So passionate about women and economic development.
Wow. So, Rahama, tell me, with the pandemic and everything that's going on, how have you repositioned yourself, or how has it impacted you thus far?
Yeah, I honestly, last year, if you were interviewing me around this time, I was like in a puddle of the unknown, right? I spent so many years. So I've been doing Shailene and building my business, my social enterprise since 2005. I did a huge pivot in 2014. And then between 2018 and the end of 2019, things were going so well. We had this fantastic retail kiosk in Washington National Airport. We had retail accounts throughout DC. We were selling our products through Whole Foods. We had a huge account with MGM Resorts. So it was just like, yes, finally, things are just happening for us. And the pandemic closed everything almost overnight. Everything closed because my business prior to COVID-19 was very much face-to-face, very much, doing sales in person, whether it was demos, whether it was staffing retail outlets and things of that nature. And so the airport was affected by COVID. Entertainment was affected by COVID. In Washington, D.C., we had mandatory shelter in place. So several of our retail outlets closed. Our main one on H Street had to close because we were a non-essential business. And so by the time the end of April came last year, I was just looking at the loss of like 70% of revenue and just like, oh my goodness, how did we get here? I worked so hard for so long, and it kind of felt like the rug was being pulled from underneath me. I had to furlough employees. I frantically looked for funding. So I was writing grants, applying to every single program I could think of. I applied to a PPP loan, and it was literally survival mode. Like, how do I get from day to day? So immediately the impact was absolutely devastating. But honestly, my mantra was, I just got to make it through today. I just got to make it through the day. That would get me to the next day. And then I got through a week, and then I got to a month, and then a couple of months. And it literally was like a day-to-day navigation and just trying to get myself mentally, spiritually okay for just those 24 hours to get to the next moment. And I would say by August, things started turning around. I got this amazing opportunity to be connected to Macy's. And so we started going through the process of getting onboarded through their system for a winter launch. We did a pop-up for the holiday in collaboration with other women and minority-owned business. And that was phenomenal. At the time, the VP-elect stopped by, which made our tent go viral. And so everyone was coming to our tent looking for, items to support local makers for the holiday. So that was phenomenal. And eventually was able to get the Anastasia Beverly Hills grant. And that also was incredible to be able to get a grant from a large beauty brand that was really leaning into supporting diversity and inclusion. So it took a while, but eventually I honestly, sometimes I feel bad saying this, but COVID-19 did have some positive impacts to my business.
Wow, that is absolutely amazing. And on your journey, you're just being a testimony to so many people that don't lose hope. That even in the darkest hours, when I was talking earlier, that there is light at the end of the tunnel. The thing is that you can't stop. You have to continue to go forward. You got to push beyond it and continue to make the connections and reaching out to people till you get to your ultimate goal. And that sounds like that's exactly what you did. And I was so awesome to see your products in Macy's. I mean, to go online and just to know that I was supporting a Black-owned business was just so rewarding. And I can't wait to get the products. I ordered several of them. And I want to talk a little bit about your products, because you taught me so much in our conversation. And I really do want to highlight this for the audience so that they understand the brand behind the beauty. There is a lot of history that goes into making your product. And I'd like for you to share a little bit with the audience about what that is.
Yeah. First of all, thank you for purchasing our products. It means a lot. I mean, even buying like a bar of soap or a balm, and I think you hit it right on the head, the nail on the head, which is supporting Black-owned businesses. And I think that if anything has taught us in the last year with COVID-19, with the reckoning with racial justice and inclusion, is that Black businesses have been around since forever, right? And we just haven't gotten the time and the attention that we deserve. And it's encouraging to me that large retailers are now looking at their supply chain and are now looking at whether or not they've done all that they can do to open doors and opportunity for people who historically have been left out. Let's be completely honest. Yeah. And so when you are supporting Shailene, when you are supporting any brand that's run by a woman, that's run by a woman of color, that's run by a Black woman, you really are supporting people who historically have had less access to capital, have had less access to getting onto retail shelves, have had less access to the resources and the support that they need to build and grow their businesses. And when you allow us to build and grow our businesses, you're directly impacting our families, you're directly impacting our community members, and you're directly impacting our ability to be leaders within our community. And so when I say thank you, it truly is from the bottom of my heart. And for Shailene, I never knew that I was going to be an entrepreneur. I really thought that I was going to become a foreign service officer, be of service that way, work for my government. And it wasn't until living in a small village in Mali, West Africa, and serving at a community health center and seeing so many women coming into my community health center and unable to pay for basic health care. So whether it was medicine for their children who were either dealing with malaria or some illness that was completely curable, or whether it was themselves, seeing so many women unable to just do the bare minimum for themselves and their children is what propelled me to start researching income generating activities for women. I wanted to know, how do these women make money? What are different ways that they generate income? And if there was anything that I could do to help. I was in my early 20s. I had absolutely no business experience. I didn't know what I was getting myself into, but it came from a place of curiosity because I felt this can't be the only option, which is I can't pay for medicine. Like there's got to be an alternative. There's got to be another option. And so that's when I started learning about the shea seeds. And I'm going to show you in your audience what these are. So this is the shea seeds. And this seed grows in a fruit on a tree that grows exclusively in sub-Saharan Africa. So women are the traditional processors. They're the ones that collect the fruit. They bring it into their communities. They extract out the seeds. And then contained in the seeds is the shea butter. And so I'll show you here. So this is the shea butter. So I'm going to put this on. My hands are actually a little dry because I want you to see what happens when you put this product on your skin.
Oh my God.
You see that glow? You saw my ashy hand. Don't say you did it. And now look at this glow.
Wow.
And your skin absolutely loves this. It like absorbs super quickly. And I'll even show you in a few moments. Like it leaves a nice sheen to your skin. It's not oily. It's not greasy. It's pure. It's natural. It's plant-based. And it's handmade by these women who have taken this traditional process that has been hundreds of years old, passed down from mother to daughter. And it's one of very few income generating activities for women in the Sahel region of Africa, from East to West Africa. And so there are roughly 21 countries where the shea tree grows. And there are approximately 16 million women across those 21 countries, African women, Black women, who are part of this global shea butter supply chain. And the reality is, despite the fact that these women are the producers, these women are the harvesters, they created shea butter. It's something that is very culturally tied to their community, to their way of life. They are the ones that benefit the least from the globalization of shea butter. They're the ones who can't afford basic health care, who can't afford sending their kids to school, who can't afford food because of the fact, kind of like what I mentioned before, they have been left out. They have been left out and they have been moved to the wayside, while large companies that don't look like them and that are led by people that don't look like them are running multi-billion-dollar industries and brands that directly source from these women. And as I, in my early 20s, was learning about this issue and seeing firsthand, this wasn't something I was reading in a book. I was seeing firsthand the impact of not including small suppliers and not including producers into the global supply chain. I thought to myself, this is wrong. Something has to be done. What can I do? And that led me down this 15 plus year journey of developing this brand to connect the dots between these shea producers and their communities and global consumers in the marketplace.
Wow. I'm just sitting here still in awe. And you told me a bit about this story because it just amazes me how something so powerful, the story that these women actually are the ones picking the fruit, but yet and still are not receiving any of the benefits and can't even take care of themselves, while these major corporations are making billions of dollars off of this product. It just makes no sense. And so I thank you for whatever God put in your spirit for you to take on this project and to bring it to market in a way that not only educates people, but also gives an opportunity for those women to somehow be incorporated in that process. And you truly are a trailblazer, Rahama. You truly are somebody that's on the leading edge. And if anybody's out there and you have questions, please do ask questions, because we really do have a gem in front of us. And anytime we get an opportunity to have someone like a Rahama, it's very important for me that you guys get as much out of it as you possibly can. And the only way you can do that is by asking questions. And I know my general audience is typically here at 5 o'clock. We're a little early today, but I am hoping and engaging. I've kind of shared this with all my groups that I'm a part of to get them engaged too, so that we can bring this awareness that's so necessary. And Rahama, with this and what you're doing, how is it that what you're doing is going to directly impact the women that are now being overlooked?
Yeah. Yeah, no, well, thank you for your kind words. I definitely feel like, yes, I was led. Like, this wasn't something that I could have done without my faith and without my belief and trust in God. And actually being an entrepreneur has strengthened my faith because there's so much unknown. There's so much that, you just don't know. You really are walking out on faith and hoping that things will be what you expect it to be, what you believe it to be, but you honestly have no idea. And so for me, I know there are a lot of brands that communicate their impact in a lot of different ways. So whether it's you buy one product and they give away a product, whether it's you buy a product and they donate to a cause, whether it's they, do a percent of, their profits to support something. Those are primarily what people look for when they're thinking about a company doing impact and a company doing something positive. My definition is slightly different. I believe that the way to empower and impact a woman's life is to give her money directly into her pocket, give her a living wage. Because when a woman has access to the income, that she needs, she now has access to one of the most powerful things, which is actually God-given choice. God gives us choice. And so when a woman has access to a living wage, she now has access to a variety of choices. I now have the ability to send my kids to school. I now have the ability to access healthcare. I now have the ability to do so much more. And in a lot of instances, women are put in vulnerable situations because they don't have that income security. And so now they have to make probably not so great choices because of it. And we all know what the realities of human trafficking and, having to work in really horrible situations. The statistics are all out there. And so for me, it's about whether or not a woman in our supply chain is able to not only take care of her needs, but also save money, but also invest in other income generating activities, but also plan for the future. The same way as American women here, many of us have access to those choices and those resources. Not all of us, but many of us. And so that's what my business model is all about. And we do this by increasing women's income 5 times their country's minimum wage. So that 5 times multiplier, how did we come up with that number? We came up with that number by working hand in hand with the women. There are no intermediaries between Shailene and our cooperative members. When I go to Ghana, I'm in the communities and in the villages. I'm sleeping where they sleep. I'm eating what they're eating. We're there together. And so by interviewing countless women, learning about their day-to-day needs, their day-to-day expenses, learning about their goals and their dreams, that's how we came up with that 5 times multiplier. And a lot of people say to me, people who study economics, they're like, well, you're giving them too much. You're giving them more than the market can bear, which is not sustainable. I disagree. Because when we look at the way the supply chain is structured, let's say the women here and the consumer over here, there's so many intermediaries between the producer and the consumer. What our business model does is we create that direct link. And by doing that, we're giving the women the value that would have been shared along the entire supply chain. And why do we do that? Because we believe that the labor of these women deserves a living wage. So we're not inflating prices. We're not creating unsustainable business models. We're saying the way the structure is doesn't work for who we want to prioritize, which is the women, the one going out, collecting this resource that has all the knowledge around producing this product that's incredible in its purest form. So they deserve to be included and they deserve to generate living wages. So that's how we build out our supply chain.
Wow, how powerful is that? You are truly thinking outside of the box and you truly are pushing the edge and the envelope, which I personally think is the right thing to do. I think, like you have said earlier, the pandemic, while it brought a lot of negative things, it also brought some positive things with it.
Absolutely.
And really, to really truly think outside of the box and how we create lives that not only fulfill us, but can sustain us and really help us as we navigate moving forward. And one of the things I hear in your messaging is really about when you talk about women empowerment, I don't think you can get any more direct than that. I don't think you can get any more direct, and anything that I can do along this journey to support you, I want to continue to do. I want to say to everybody out there that if you're listening to us, please tag a friend. This is information that Rahama is sharing with us is not only needed, it's necessary. The only way that we're going to grow as entrepreneurs and even professionals, whether you're in corporate or not, is really understanding the history behind what happens so that you can make better choices as a consumer and where you're spending your dollar. And the more that we really just take a moment to really educate ourselves, I think the more powerful we will be in our choices and the impact that we make in the communities around the globe. And so I'm taking great pride in everything that you're talking about. I'd love to learn a little bit, Rahama, about your products and your manufacturing process. I know you got some great things that are happening for you. I'd love to understand about you and how you go about manufacturing your product, because I do recall, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but when these major corporations take that seed and bring it to manufacturing, there's something that they're losing along the way. So it doesn't at the end of the day become really shea butter. It becomes something else. Can you do that? I just asked you a lot, all in that was a lot, but I'm sure you can take for it.
No, you're exactly right. Most of the products we see in traditional markets, so whether it's a department store, a pharmacy, or hotel, that anything that you see shea on the front label is not the same as what these women in their local communities are making. So I always say this, not all shea butter is created equally. And so the majority of shea butter that leaves the continent of Africa is not actually produced in Africa. And you're probably wondering to yourself, why is that? Why are so many raw material being exported out, and then value addition happens, then global distribution happens? It's not just in the shea industry, it's in cocoa. Most of the world's cocoa grows in 2 countries, the Ivory Coast and Ghana. They're the largest cocoa producers. Ask me how much of chocolate is made in those countries. A very small percent. It's made in Belgium, it's made in Europe. People identify with Belgium chocolate. If I say Belgium chocolate, people are like, oh yes, it's the best chocolate in the world. There are no cocoa plantations in Belgium. When we talk about diamonds, so let's even talk about the raw material diamonds, right? De Beers is a huge diamond manufacturer and seller. That diamond is not being refined and made there. They're selling off the raw material majority of the time. If we look at crude oil, same thing. So I'm just going down the list because I want listeners to understand that Africa, the continent, by no stretch of the imagination is poor. It's not. It's not. And that's one of my biggest frustrations when we talk about Africans and we talk about Africa. We have been led to believe that Africans are poor. No. The continent is the most resource-rich continent in the world. Yet what has happened is that the control of those resources, the ability to manufacture and make products locally has been taken away. And it started back in the day with colonization, with slavery. I mean, we can trace it all the way back from then, when a lot of these trade relationships and the way external foreign entities trade with Africans has constantly been at an imbalance. And so I just want to say that up front, because I think it's so important when I talk about how shea butter is made, people can fit it into that reality that even though the raw material you can't find shea trees anywhere else in the world, only grows in Africa. When you get it to market and when you pick up a cream with shea butter or a body scrub with shea butter, that woman in Africa who was part of that supply chain did not actually physically make the shea. What she did, she sold these for pennies. Pennies. Wow. And so what is different? Back to your original question, what's different with Shaylene's model? Our model is utilizing the traditional knowledge of African women who have made this product for hundreds of years and taking that traditional knowledge, enhancing it with local equipment, with local tools to ensure that the purest shea butter is made, leveraging that local knowledge and ensuring that women are being not only paid fairly, but are working in a safe environment, have access to the protective equipment, have access to the resources, the capital, all of it. So we're building an entire ecosystem around these women, helping them along the way so that they can take these raw materials, make it locally in this form. When it leaves them, it's in the shea butter form. And we import that to the US, but we do a finishing, meaning that we do packaging in the US simply because there isn't the infrastructure to do that packaging locally. It's something that eventually we'll address, but until we really build out and increase our market share as well as our distribution, we'll do our finishing here in the US.
Wow.
So,
no, please continue, please.
oh no, I was just gonna say one of the things that we're working on is sustainability in our packaging. So last year we moved from plastic jars to glass jars. This year we're looking at how we can get more sustainable with our tubes, because our squeeze tubes are still, and you can see them behind my shoulder, behind the shoulder. You can see that we're still using tubes, and we're going to figure out a solution to moving from plastic tubes to something more sustainable.
Oh my God, I'm just sitting here in awe and in gratitude for this amazing opportunity to have this conversation with you. I think that we don't talk about it enough, because I'm going to tell you, I didn't know that. I didn't know. I'm not a chocolate lover. I love flowers, so that's just it's not a chocolate lover. But still, I didn't know that, and so I think it's so important from the understanding of, like you said, Africa is, what is the word that you use? It is very rich in resources.
Yep.
It's the supply chain, the getting it from one end to the other and not including them as being a part of that. And everything that you are doing is going to transition that. I'd love to ask you, just out of curiosity, how did you come up with the name Shea Yaleen? How did you come up with that?
Yeah, well, the plant and the product is shea butter. So we wanted to keep shea. But Yaleen is the language I learned as a Peace Corps volunteer. I learned Bambara, which is a West African traders language. It's spoken in parts of Burkina Faso, Senegal, Mali, and Ivory Coast. And it means light and hope. And so we're bringing light to the issues of the women in these communities, and then hope by creating those market connections. And the other thing that, you asked, how are we different? How do we track our impact? Yes, the priority is creating living wages, but also bringing visibility to these women. And that's part of that name, that light, shining that light. And we've done trade missions where our shea producers have come to the US. They've walked into a Whole Foods store. They've seen the products on the shelf. They've talked to the buyers. They talk to not only the buyers in the stores, but customers who come up to them and want to hear about their stories. And for me, that's where real transformation happens. Because imagine, Cheryl, you're in a small rural village, very far removed from even the capital of your country. And you've never even traveled to the capital of your country, but now you're in New York. Now you're in Boston. Now you're in Washington. That level of opening up your mind to the rest of the world. And that's what I get from traveling, right? Traveling is a privilege, and being able to experience new environments, new cultures, new everything, it opens your mind. And that is something you can't take away from a person. When you are able to provide them an experience that deepens their understanding of humanity and deepens their connection to the rest of the world, when they go back into their villages, that's passed down to their community members, to their children, to people who connect to them. And it also gives you a level of confidence that no one can take away from you. And I believe that, yes, Shea Yaleen is selling skincare products that we believe in, that we know are good for our customers, that are pure and plant-based, but it's more than that. We want to redefine the way we look at beauty, that beauty isn't just about taking care of ourselves. It's about taking care of everyone around us, whether that is someone, our neighbor next door, or it's a woman in a cooperative in Ghana. And that idea of radical self-care, abundant self-care, where self-care is about us, but it's also about our community and the world that we're a part of. And it directly ties to being our brother's keeper and our sister's keeper.
Ooh, girl. Yeah. I don't even know. I'm sitting over here rocking because I'm in the pew and you preaching, and I'm receiving everything that you're saying. And the audience, I know that whether you watch it now or later, you're going to receive the same thing. This is so powerful, and I can't speak enough about this amazing work that you're doing. Hey, John, how are you? That's one of my board members. So glad
Hi,
to see
John.
you. I'd love to know, talk about, which I'm also, you are doing so many amazing things. I'm just in awe. But I want to talk about this manufacturing plant that you are opening up. Can you share?
Yes. This is hot off the press. We haven't even formally announced it yet, but you're getting it first, Cheryl. So one of the things I've been thinking about over the last couple of years, probably about 2 years now, and during COVID-19, I kind of leaned in more to this idea, especially as we looked at so much around supply chains being impacted. So much of the way business is done in the US is directly tied to global supply chains and global manufacturing. And for me, I felt that we need to do more locally. We need to do more in the US in terms of manufacturing, right? What are we doing to support smaller brands, smaller companies that want to make products? And the answer is we're not doing a lot. We could definitely do more. And when I say we, I mean the federal government, local government, private sector. There aren't a lot of spaces that allow for indie makers, early stage entrepreneurs to be able to take an idea when it comes to creating products and actually coming up with something that they can then put on a shelf. So I've been, doing this for years now, and I've learned a lot, and I am in a position, and I consider a position of privilege where people do reach out to me asking me questions about how do I source this? How can I get this ingredient? Give me some tips, and how do I fundraise? All of that. And so I thought to myself, is there anywhere in this country where you can actually access a manufacturing facility that allows for indie makers to ideate, share resources, and also make products? So taking away most indie brands, like if you think about Carol's Daughter or Jamie Schmidt, who does Schmidt deodorants, they all started in their kitchens or their basements, and then they moved to co-manufacturers, and as their brands built and grew, etc. But everyone really starts at home, and most people get stuck there because they don't have the ability to scale or the resources to scale. So I'm leading all of this up to say I am creating a manufacturing facility to support indie makers and early stage brands of beauty products, of body care products, to help us do a couple of things: take back control of our supply, our manufacturing, and our distribution in an environment similar to the cooperatives that we work with in West Africa, creating a community here for primarily women, women-owned brands. Of course, we're going to be inclusive, but we really want to focus on Black women, women of color, who, again, historically have been left out and do not have the resources to be able to launch and grow beauty brands. And so that is my evolution of my model of Shailene, meaning that we do a lot of work abroad with women. Now we want to really lean into supporting other small early stage brands and giving all of us the ability to at least jump the hurdle of manufacturing, because it's a huge one, and give people the ability to create their own businesses and successful businesses.
Wow, that is so huge. Rahama, does this exist anywhere?
Not that I've seen. I have not seen. So in the food space, you have a lot of shared kitchen space for food entrepreneurs.
Right.
But you don't have it for beauty.
Wow. And you talk about, you got some huge space. You just got funding for this. This is huge.
I did get funding. So DC government is actually going to be our partner on this. and they recently gave us a $640,000 grant to build this out. And so, and so very super excited about that. And so we are tentatively going to launch next spring, April of 2022. We'll start recruiting members for this space in October of 2021. And then we'll have a few months to work with those initial members. We're going to keep it small initially to really pilot it, test it, and then grow it. We'll start here, but I want to see our space in every major market across the country.
Oh my God.
So you can help us when we expand to California.
Where is this? What'd you say?
I said, you can help us when we expand to California.
You can count all day, every day. Where is your plant, your manufacturing plant going to be?
So it is going to be in DC in Ward 7, and it's going to be at the corner of Benning Road and Minnesota Avenue for the people who know where that is in DC.
Okay. Oh my God, I am just so.
You will be invited to the ribbon cutting, Cheryl.
I'm gonna get on a flight and I will be there. I have to be there. I just find it's so amazing when I meet women like you. Like, I get emotional. I really do. And it's so awesome to see women like yourself, and I'll include myself in that are really being
Absolutely.
And creating a lane that doesn't exist and doing it unapologetically and really helping people to understand the value behind it. Because everything that you've shared was just not about the story, about your passion, which is always good. It was really sharing the history behind what has happened with colonization, what has happened with the process of us being left out, and how we, especially Black women and women of color, have a unique opportunity. We have an opportunity to rewrite history. We have an opportunity to change the narrative.
Absolutely.
In terms of who we are and who we represent. And we no longer have to allow somebody else to write our story. To tell my story or your story.
Absolutely.
And it's things that we align with that others don't understand, and rightfully so. If you've not walked in my shoes, then you wouldn't understand. But if you give me an opportunity, I can share, just like you are doing here today, Rahama, educating us all on these amazing women. I would love to ask you, Rahama, how do people get in touch with you? How do they reach out to you? How do they support you?
Absolutely. Let me just comment really quickly on what you just said, because it really moved me. And I think when you talk about other people telling our stories and telling us who we are, we're not doing that anymore. We're not doing that anymore. And I think when you allow someone else to tell you who you are, they're not going to give you your full worth. And the other part of that, and this I really learned during COVID, is that the baseline is worthiness. That's our starting point.
Yes.
Nobody can give you worthiness. You're born with it. It's God-given. And so I think that for so long, and for many of us who didn't grow up in an environment where it was very affirming, where we had really strong, adults in our lives, for too long, we try to get worthy. We're wasting all that time trying to be worthy when we already are. And so I really think for your listeners and for the women that are out there, I want you to know, really and truly, worthiness is not something you earn. Worthiness is not something that someone else gives you. It doesn't come with titles. It doesn't come with how much money you have or don't have, or how many, awards you get. It's who you are when you're born into this world. And when you start there, from that point, I promise you, any vision that you have, anything that you're trying to do will happen. It will, because you're coming from that place of, I'm worthy, I'm going to take up space here, and I deserve to live a life of abundance and a life that's making impact, not only for me and the people around me, but for everyone. And I think it's so important for us to truly lean into that. So with that,
thank you for that. Before you answer the other question, because now you got me going. Who is your tribe? Because you speak in such confidence about who you are. And I love that. And just thinking about my audience and the women out there, especially Black women and women of color that have often walked around in this bubble, trying to acquiesce ourselves in a world that doesn't appreciate us, and trying to get along with everybody in hopes that you'll see my worthiness and you'll see that what is your tribe that has you stand so bold? I know mine. It's behind me. I want to know yours.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have to give props to my mom. And I think that, so my mom is African, she's Ghanaian. She certainly like raised us with her African values and her Ghanaian values. It wasn't a warm and fuzzy relationship. It was like, you know how some mamas are, like, I'm not your friend, like I'm your mom. It was certainly like that. It was certainly like that. But I think that not necessarily from words, but from example, she really did instill in me a sense of independence. And she would always tell me and my younger siblings, I'm the oldest of 5, respect. You got to respect yourself and you got to respect other people. That was a message she really honed in. It didn't matter what you did. She would somehow bring it back to respect. And I think that just seeing both of her struggles, her failures, and the challenges that she went through, and the way that she persisted through so much, certainly influenced me in terms of like what I knew I was capable of. And seeing her journey as an immigrant, seeing her journey struggling through so much. She wasn't formally educated. She didn't go, to college and all of that stuff. But, her brilliance and her intelligence and her way of just like being able to persevere, she certainly passed that on to me. And the commitment to community and service. And then the other one is my church family in Washington, D.C. Let me give a shout out to Plymouth United Church of Christ. Reverend Hagler, I call him my D.C. dad. I mean, I've been a member of that church since 2005 now. And it's a church that really upholds the value of community service and the fact that Jesus's life was a life of social justice, and that Jesus in his day was a rebel and pushed up against systems that were oppressive and disenfranchised others. And so I think being part of a church that really upholds those values of justice and community service, I can't say enough good things. But I also think my own personal relationship with God and how that has evolved over the years, from like being a teenager to a young adult and now, adult, has always been something that I lean really heavily on. And yeah, I would say that those are all my tribes. And of course, I'm inspired by so many other people who show us the way of doing things, and what it means to be a leader, what it means to be of service. So I feel very lucky. I feel like this is the time for Black women. I feel like this is our time to take up as much space as possible. That, we've been prepared for this moment for so long. And we stand on the shoulders of giants. We stand on so many people who sacrificed for us. And so, yeah, I just feel a sense of excitement for the future.
Oh my God, Rahama, you just don't know. You speak to my spirit. And sister to another, we've already talked about collaborating and how
Absolutely.
work together, and I'm really looking forward to it. And there's another lady that I want to bring into our communications, and she's here in the Bay Area, and she does ranchera wines. And I talked about me because my platform, my goal is to reach 50 million women, and I can't do that alone. I do that through collaboration and building partnerships with others to be able to empower them. And with my platform, and I'm listening to you, and I get educated every time I talk to my community. I call this my tribe. I'm building a tribe for others. You use the word Connect Dots. That's one of my companies that I have started. It's called Connect Dots. As a matter of fact, it's We started it with my sons who also work for me. And
oh, that's amazing.
yes. And so we trademarked the name, we got it all down pat. And it's really about building community like this, because one of the things I'm a firm believer in, Rahama, is that we live in a world where we've been isolated, and we have built to not really work with each other, but more be pitted against each other. And I think that's a strategy and a plan. And the more that we can realize that our greatest worth comes from, I call it the C4 matrix. It's simple, but it's very powerful. And the C4 matrix is, I came up with this in grad school, and it's about our ability to communicate. When you communicate, when we communicate, we connect. When we connect, then we can collaborate. And when we collaborate, we can build community. And when we build community, we can actually change the world.
Absolutely.
What we're doing right now is building community. What we're doing right now is building tribes of like minds, of how do we get resources to help each other. If others won't help, I'm a firm believer that we need each other.
Absolutely.
We need each other now more than ever, and coming together collectively, not holding anybody apart or separating anybody. I always get these wonderful calls, and I need my phone. I'm gonna have to get another. That's what I'm gonna have to do. We need each other, and it is, people like, for me, my sheroes, the Harriet Tubmans of the world.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And partly because in her time and during her era, for her to have that boldness that she had to do what she did.
Yes.
Her to be so unselfish.
Yep.
Turn around and come back and get others, even at the expense of it meant to take their own lives, but you weren't going to mess up what she was trying to do to get you to freedom, even if you couldn't see freedom. She was going to get you there. So if you decide to go back once you left, that would be on you, but you weren't going to interrupt. But that power and just the metaphor in that, and what I see you're doing is doing the same thing. Here you've created a company. And you created the company as a way of giving back to those who have been marginalized, those who have been discriminated against, those who haven't been given the opportunity, but yet you're taking it to another level now. Now you're creating this huge manufacturing plant where these individuals can have a home to come to actually help their business to scale. And that is so much power. And I tell you, if I'm doing the same thing. I'm just doing it through education, by bringing people like you to this platform and educating my audience. The thing that I say to my audience is, take advantage of what I'm bringing to you while it's free. While it's free. Bringing these resources to you to truly help you. And there's stories. But if you really think about our heritage and where we came from, especially in Africa, and I have yet to go back to the motherland. I've never been. It's on my
Come with me next time I go to Ghana. We're doing it.
I promise I'm with you. But one of the things is that we have to reach back and we have to help each other. And I almost lost my train of thought, but I've never been back, but I was going. One of the things that we did was, we didn't have books. We didn't have, the universities or the structured educational system. What we had was storytelling. What we had was the ability to pass on stories for generations. This platform is about sharing stories. It's about sharing journeys. It's about giving that digital mentorship that you can't access by people who look like you, who have experience, and you don't have to tell them because they understand. You don't have to explain. You don't have to do it apologetically. Stand in your space and your power because we understand, and we're here to support you. We got your back. We're here to uplift you, and it's so much. So much joy, and I think even those that are not Black, because the whole world is not racist, and we know that.
Right.
We know that. And Marcia Nelson, I love you.
I love her. Yes. She's amazing. I can't say enough good things about Marcia.
Serves on my board.
That's awesome.
And I don't know what I would do without her or Dan. Dan Hughes is another person that's on my board. Antonio Davis is on my board of advisors. I have some amazing strength behind me. And when I listen to you, you just give me courage to continue to go on. So with that said, I want to know, how do people get in touch with you? How do they support you?
Absolutely. So shailene.com, SHEAYELEEN.com. And it's Shailene across all of our social platforms. And you can also support us on Macy's.com. Just go to the Macy's website. In the search bar, put our company name and our product page will come up. And yeah, those are the best ways to get in touch with us.
Oh my God, because we want to. So I just want to say to the audience, whether you watch this now or later, I'm going to be promoting this like over and over and over again. I have you back to do one of the master classes, because I think the education that you provide is everything. I can't wait to partner with you to go over to Ghana. When you go, I'm going. I'm serious. I'm in. I'm all in, because I'm here to make a change. I'm here to make a difference. It's important. They say when the elevator goes up, send it back down. Get more people. When it goes up, send it back down.
Absolutely.
Take care of each other. And this is the year to do that. And we make no apologies for it. We are Black, beautiful, and bold. And
that's right.
Walking in our spirit and in our truth unapologetically. And that just gives me so much joy. So I want to ask you a question. And we're now up on the hour. This always goes by so fast. Please,
oh, I know. It went by so fast.
Please do support my friend Rahama. You won't be disappointed. You were going to say, Rahama, too, like you wanted to point out afterwards what it does to your skin. You said in the beginning it doesn't, but you said you'll point it out later. Did you want to show something different that is still
yeah. So I was just going to show, like, it's still like glowy, but it's not oily.
Right. I'm ordering that today.
Yeah. The balm.
Which one?
This is the lavender balm.
I have a few. You know I've been on your site.
Yes. We have soaps, we have balms, we have creams. So yeah, we have a line of 14 products.
Please do support this queen and the amazing work that she's doing. And I want to continue to support you in any way that I can too. Know that I'm and anything that I can do for you, I am here. I'm going to ask you a question, then I'm going to make some announcements. So I want you to think about it.
Okay.
You could leave my audience with one word of advice. I want you to think about what that would be. So, but before you do that, I want to say to everybody, whether you watch this now or later, if you watch it later, type in pound replay so that I know you watched it later. Please do share this. The information is so valuable in terms of your journey and what you're doing and how you're trying to grow. We here at SGI are committed to you and committed to your growth. And this is not, I have dedicated my entire life's being. I left corporate America to do this work, and I give you 100% of my heart to help you be the most amazing person that you can possibly be. And I'm here to remind you, just like Rahama just did, you are worthy. 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 The only thing that's standing in the way of you and your goal is you. And the question is, what work are you willing to do? Are you willing to listen to the conversations we're having? Are you willing to go do the research necessary to get to where you want to go? Because if you do, I'm here to tell you, like she's already said, you can have your dream. It is possible. And while you may encounter bumps, that's a part of life's lessons. It's the yin and the yang, the good and the bad, but we take them both because they both allow us to become who God has created us to be. So I want you to embrace those challenges and know that your best is yet to come. Do not give up on you, and to know that you can do it. And I want to create a community that supports you, a place that you can go to and get resources. If it's coaching that you need, go get it. Mental health is a big thing. We are going through a lot. This pandemic took a toll on a lot of people, but there are resources out there to help support you. I am coming up with these challenges. I am collaborating with some of the most Bay Area fitness gurus, and we're going to be bringing this fitness journey to you to help inspire you, not only your physical body, your mental body, but your emotional body, to get you to the next level. And all of them need to be working in conjunction. So join me on this journey. Subscribe to my YouTube, like my LinkedIn, follow me, do all the things. Support the people that I'm bringing to you. Support Black businesses. Support Black businesses. Together, we will change the world. So with that said, we'll be coming back next week. And yes, Rahama, now it's your turn.
Okay, so my one word is persist.
Okay.
Persist. Do I need to explain it or just?
Go ahead, yes.
Okay, got it. Okay. So the reason why my word is persist, it's honestly my secret. I constantly tell folks I had no business starting a business. I did not have any money. I was in my early 20s. I knew nothing about branding, marketing, product development. And for me to be able to go from that to now working with major retailers like Macy's and developing strong partnerships with, government officials, it was because I persisted. I just refused to give up. That was really it. That's my secret. I would have tremendous failures, major disappointments, and I would just say, okay, I need to try something else, and I would try something else. And I think that my ability to just keep going, even during the most difficult days where I was just like, I honestly have no idea how I'm going to get through this. That's why I'm here now and experiencing all the harvest, all the abundance, everything that's happening. It was just that refusal to give up. And then, of course, when you persist and when people start seeing you and resonating with you and connecting with you, that's when you start really building that tribe of people who are supporting you. People like Marcia, people like Cheryl now. But I always say if I gave up in year 3 or year 5 or year 7, I wouldn't have made it to year 15. I wouldn't have made it to year 10 and everything that came with that. And so for me, thankfully early on, I knew that this wasn't something that was going to happen overnight. And I was willing to just see it through until the end.
Oh my God, you are amazing. To the moon and back. I want to thank you again for being a blessing to not only myself, but to my audience and to this platform. And I wish you continued success. And I'm going to continue to quote you. I would love to also order some. I do these gift box giveaways. I have an amazing team that I work with. I'm going to be promoting you. I want to get your products in one of those boxes so we can get sample giveaways. And I just want to continue to promote you. I can't wait to get the facial products because I'm going to start using those. I got you, girl. I got you.
Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you for having me. This was amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. God bless you. Keep shining, okay? Thank you. Have a safe and blessed 4th of July.
Yes.
Take care. Until next time, take care.
Bye.